It's time for a story with me, Kathy. Get comfy. And now I'm going to get into my pajamas. And there I am in my pajamas. Still the same pajamas that I had on for the last few nights. Hey, you could tell me what your pajamas look like in the comments on Facebook, on my Facebook page under this video. That'd be a cool idea. I'd love to know what your pajamas look like. Hey, I've got some shout outs today. Let's have a look. To Henry and Carlotta. Henry and Carlotta also listen to my radio show regularly, which is awesome. Sorry I can't do my radio show live at the moment, Carlotta and Henry, but it's awesome that you are tuning in and listening with your mum and dad, Ian and Mal. Also, Arabella and Ruby, your mum, Elsa. Lovely, lovely to have you tuned into my stories and songs. To Navia and Barbara. It's awesome to know that you're listening to my stories every night, guys. It's really cool. Oh, whoops, the daisy. Teddy fell off the wall. I'll have to put him somewhere else, won't I? Just got to get that sellotape off because I stuck him up there. Where can I put him? He can sit right there on my knee and listen to the story. Here we go. And to Madison. Hi, Madison. Awesome that you listen in to my stories and songs every night. Right. Now, the story tonight is a little tiny story, and it's called Button and Tiny. Oops, Teddy's fallen off. Let's put him back up here. Here we go, Ted. Sit there. Here we go. Now, this is one of the Munch Bunch books. It was a quite old bunch of books called the Munch Bunch books, and they were all veggies and fruit, I think. So this one's called Button and Tiny. And you can see what Button and Tiny are. That's right, they're mushrooms. Now, before I start, are you in your pajamas? If not, don't forget to pause the video and get into your pajamas quick. Okay. Button and Tiny Mushroom are sisters. They live in a neat and tidy little watering can next door to Ollie Onion. Their house is one of the tidiest houses of all in the Munch Bunch. Teddy does not want to sit on my knee. There we go. Cool house, a watering can, eh? I reckon. Wouldn't mind living in that house. One morning, Button and Tiny woke early to find the sun shining brightly through their window. They threw back the covers and jumped out of their beds. After they had made their beds, they ate their breakfast. Then they washed the dishes and carefully put them away. Very tidy mushrooms, sisters. Cute little house. Very cute. When they were sure that everything was spick and span, they went outside. My goodness, exclaimed Button, the garden is looking a bit untidy. Let's get our garden tools and tidy it up a bit, said Tiny. That's a good idea and a good thing to do actually at the moment while we're all at home. Here we go. They're about to do some weeding and tidying. Ooh, do you hear my tummy rumble then? Must be supper time for me. The two little mushrooms were soon hard at work in their garden. They had both begun digging busily when suddenly Tiny Spade struck something very hard. Whatever can it be? Asked Tiny. Do you think it's treasure? Maybe it is. Perhaps it's buried treasure, replied Button. Button and Tiny tried to dig it up, but whatever it was, buried in their garden. It was too heavy for the sisters to dig out. Wow, I wonder what it is. Hey, maybe if you've got a big section, you can put something in a wee old tin and bury it and dig it up a few years later. They were still struggling when Spud and Tom Tomato came by. "What seems to be the trouble, Mushrooms?" asked Spud. "We found something buried. Or we found some buried treasure, but we can't get it out of the ground," replied Button. "Move aside then. This looks like a job for me," ordered Spud. He must be strong. Here we go. Do you like Spud's cap? Button and Tiny stood aside and watched Spud take control. He pulled and pushed and pushed and pulled until suddenly there was a loud crack. Spud had pulled so hard that he found himself lying flat on his back, still holding the treasure. What is that treasure? Can you see it? I can't see it from here, but you might be able to see it. Looks like some sort of medallion. A wicked gleam appeared in Spud's eye. "I think it's a coin," he said. "It really is buried treasure." "Here, Tom, finders keepers, catch!" Tom caught the treasure and the two of them raced around, tossing it between them. "Give us back our treasure," yelled Tiny. It's not very good of Tom Tomato. An old Spud, is it? Spud and Tom just laughed and ran on. Suddenly, Spud tripped over something and the treasure slipped from his hands. He had tripped over Professor Peabody's feet. What do you think Professor Peabody is? That's right, he's a pea in a pod. Oh, Teddy fell off my knee again. Come on, Ted, sit up there. Here we go. Oh. "Serves you right for teasing Button and Tiny," Professor Peabody shouted as Tom and Spud ran away. "Let me see what you have found," he said. "It's buried treasure," shrieked Tiny excitedly. "It's treasure, we're rich." "Well," said Professor Peabody, "it is treasure, but you're not going to be rich, I'm afraid. It's not a coin at all. There's a hole in it. Look." See, it does look a bit like a medallion or a necklace. Professor Peabody found a duster and began to clean off the dirt. "I'm sure I've read about one of these in my books," he told the mushrooms. Suddenly he knew the answer. Ooh. What do you think it is? "It's part of a necklace," he said. "I think it must have been attached to a chain." "That's probably why we couldn't pull it out of the ground," exclaimed Tiny. "The chain must have broken when Spud pulled because he's so strong." Aha! I wonder if they're going to dig up the chain now. Button and Tiny hurried back to their garden. Professor Peabody was right. There was a chain laying in the hole that they had dug. There it is. Cool. The sisters picked up the chain and hurried into their house. They carefully polished the chain and the disc until they could see their faces in them. That's very shiny. Button threaded the chain through the hole in the circle, then she tied the two broken ends together in a neat little bow and hung their treasure on a hook over the fireplace. "It makes a lovely mirror," said Tiny. "Huh, here we go. Now they've got a new mirror." They were glad their buried treasure wasn't a real coin after all. They preferred a mirror. You never know what you're going to find when you're digging for treasure, do you? Right, what song are we going to have tonight? Ted, you're going to have to sit somewhere else. There we go. We are going to sing, oh yes, a song that I wrote about bubbles. You're going to have to imagine bubbles floating all around you in this song. And if you're snuggled up in bed, when I sing the poppy bit, then you're allowed to pretend you're popping bubbles if you're still awake, and you can be bothered. If you're too tired, just snuggle down and I'll sing you my bubble song. Okay. Ooh, here we go. Bubbles here, bubbles there, blowing bubbles in the air, bubbles swirling all around, bubbles bouncing on the ground, bubbles here, bubbles there, blowing bubbles in the air, bubbles landing on your nose, bubbles tickling your toes, they float, they pop. We don't want to stop blowing bubbles. Bubbles here, bubbles there, blowing bubbles in the air, coloured bubbles floating by, look like rainbows in the sky, they float, they pop. We don't want to stop blowing bubbles. Comes the poppy bit. Pop, 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 pop. They make you laugh, they make you smile. You can watch them for hours or a little while. They twist and they twirl and they're hard to hold. You're sometimes too young, but you're never too old for blowing bubbles. Bubbles here, bubbles there, blowing bubbles in the air, make you feel so good inside. You'll know that feeling if you've tried blowing bubbles. Here comes the poppy bit. Pop, 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 pop. They make you laugh, they make you smile. You can watch them for hours or a little while. They twist and they twirl and they're hard to hold. You're sometimes too young, but you're never too old for blowing bubbles, blowing bubbles, blowing bubbles. Hey, maybe tomorrow you could make some bubble mixture. All you need really is some dishwashing liquid, and you could blow some bubbles and play that song on Spotify at the same time, and then pop as many as you can in the poppy bits. Have a lovely sleep tonight, guys, and I will see you tomorrow at the same time in the same place. Night night. Blow me your kiss. Called it. Thank you. Night night. Sleep tight.